Greetings, Goddess Body Mind Spirit community. This is your Goddess Guru, Tyra Omilade, here to share a word of wisdom with you on a word of inspiration with you on your path to self-realization and self-mastery. Today is July 26th. Oh, Mercury retrograde. And it is in full effect for me. I forgot to pack a key element in my husband's lunch. He sent me a message like, hey, what's up? Why you leave out the main ingredient? Not the main ingredient, but the main piece of his lunch. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. So I was like, Mercury is already messing with me. So happy Mercury retrograde. Again, remember, this is a time to really be about all things the mind. Okay. And so I hope that everyone is well. And excuse me that I'm not looking directly at the camera. I am using this camera and wanted to just kind of come on live to see how did it work. My son's laptop got left behind. So guess who's using it? May, because my PC, that's one of the reasons I got slowed down on making videos. And I didn't like the quality of the camera on this laptop. And I brought this camera to use on my PC and decided to try it on this laptop. And I think the quality is really good. If anyone is out there, how do I sound? Do I sound normal? Oh, you know what? Where is my? I do have a microphone. I'm telling you, Mercury has me all messed up today. Okay, so I'm happy with the way the camera looks. I'm very happy with the way the camera looks. As my grandma would say, you look good just like me. Well, that's an example of Mercury and Leo. Just saying whatever's on your mind. And, you know, this is a time for us to find our confidence, to really be looking at things regarding confidence, and to even consider where we lack confidence. And it's all things regarding mind. A lot of the astrologers are saying this is a time where we might be a little braggy, a little boastful, a little, because, you know, Leo has that tendency that's sort of like, well, you know, I'm the king, so, or the queen. So this is what I say goes. So that's something to be looking at also. But I just think for me, this is a time to really look at where do I need to find my confidence and everything. I did want to say it for those who are on, if you have a question that you would like to ask, I will even go to the Oracle for general questions. If somebody wants to ask of the Oracle, this is only for the live. This is only for the live. If you watch this in replay, you know, this is just for live. But anytime you see question and answer from here on out, then just know I might just be asking the Oracle questions, but don't ask anything you don't want to ask publicly because this video is public. I did want to say that I'm moving closer to having classes on Ifa for those who are interested in understanding what is Ifa and how to initiate into Ifa. I particularly want to start with talking about the Ori, where we are understanding our relationship with our spiritual head. So that is something that I'm putting in the works and hope to get going sometime, I don't know, in the next few months. I don't really want to say for sure just because my life has been in transition and I just need to get myself settled down. But I'm talking to a Babalawo who is going to come in and teach us about the Ori, because I feel like it doesn't matter if you're initiated into Ifa. If you're initiated into Ifa, definitely understanding the Ori. But the Ori is something that anyone can connect to, work with, and really make some strides and benefits from it. For me, connecting with my higher self. Another way of looking at this is our Ganesha. If you study the Metaneter, this would be Orsair energy. People know Orsair is Osiris. And so understanding, creating that relationship with the higher self, that's really what all the religions are about. That's why all these people come and do these spiritual teachings. It's about the importance of connecting with our spiritual head. We all come here with help. We are not here alone. And I'm not just talking guides. I'm saying literally there is a spirit. Greetings. How are you? Glad you're here, Marcus. There is literally an energy that is here specifically for you, specifically for me, specifically for each individuated soul. We have what is called an Ori. And so understanding our relationship to the Ori, and one of the things I might would say is all roads lead to Ori. I mean, you can be, we talk about in E5, what road are you on? The road of Oshun, the road of Shango, road of Yemonja. Baby, all roads are leading to Ori, because there are no blessings that can come to you unless through the Ori. This is what E5 teaches. And so it behooves us to really and truly make that connection with our Ori, because it's sort of like that thing when I think about it. When I have nobody, I have my Ori. Okay. My Ori is on the outside of all of this physical reality, outside of all of this consciousness. It is on the outside of all of the constructs that we have put in place that cause us to act a certain way, have certain identities, all these ego constructs. The Ori is not falling for none of that. Blessings, blessings. And so y'all just ignore Doug. Don't worry about Doug. And so all of, Ori is on out, it transcends all of that. And when we are in relationship with Ori, then we are able to know the game plan, know where we're trying to move past, know what we're trying to do in life. And no matter what problem comes up, we are able to move beyond it on our deepest, darkest night. When we hit, what is that thing called? The dark night of the soul. I am telling you, you too. I'm talking to Amy, not you, Doug. I thought that, hold on one second, y'all. Let me see something. I have to learn how to do these. I have to learn how to work on the there we go. How you like that, Doug? Huh? Okay, there we go. That was distracting me, Mr. Doug. I don't even know where Doug came from, but welcome to Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde, and I know I'm like deviating from what I was talking about with the Ori, but y'all get the point. Your deepest, darkest night. Thank you. Your Ori, no one else is there on your dark night of the soul, but I tell you what, your Ori is, and that is what you're striving to get to when you are in that dark night of the soul. But Mercury retrograde, I relate Mercury to Eshu and Elegua. This is the energy of the trickster. And that Doug, and if you're in the replay, you may not see Mr. Doug's comments because I got his butt up out of there. Huh, Doug? Huh? What, Doug? I'm just double checking everything over here. Blessings. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Okay. So, yes, um, that's the energy of the trickster. And this is the thing. I'll tell you another energy this Mercury retrograde reminds me of, and it's just I'm here right now with Doug. Um, is the energy of chewing. Chewing is from the Mayan oracle. It is the monkey trickster energy. And it's sort of like if we take the time to really look at what we do in our lives. So, for instance, sometimes when I find myself really pondering on, like, I just cannot move past this thing. Like for me, it a lot of times is related to my eating. When I'm good, I'm good. But when I'm bad, it's really a big struggle for me that I do struggle in the area of food and keeping myself nice and slim. I sure can, Michelle. And and then like here lately, I have a young woman I've been working with. I told her, let me be her health coach, but I'm health coaching both of us at the same time. And we get so frustrated with messing up. After a while I start looking at it and I'm like, this is actually like a TV show. This is just so hilarious. And I feel like that's what Eshu, Alegua, Mercury, Sabet, it gives us an opportunity to laugh at ourselves in the midst of, our comings and our goings and the ups and downs of life. This Mercury energy is actually light and fun. It's the energy of Gemini. Gemini is about let's have some fun, let's do some things, let's get out and about, let's talk, let's chat. And if people have a lot of Geminian energy, they like to laugh. They like to make people laugh. And my son is a Gemini. He's like, look, I won't be doing all this serious talk, y'all. I'm not all about that. And I think that Mercury in retrograde, it's a serious time. And I'm speaking more as a diviner than as a student of astrology. I think it also gives us an opportunity to really take some time to think back on the things that we've done and that need to be changed and just freaking laugh at ourselves. We must be serious, but we've got to be laughing every step of the way. And with it being in Leo, Leo is about the good time. So even though we're working hard, we need to be making sure we're having a good time. So, what is the dark night of the soul? The dark night of the soul is an experience that people find themselves in. And a lot of times it's people who have been spiritual maybe will question their faith. They're in a place where they're not happy. You just feel like darkness is all around. I think people who maybe aren't necessarily on a spiritual path, um, I'm thinking people who maybe are more like agnostic or atheist. I don't really think it matters whether you have a religion or not, spiritual or not. I think anyone can reach a dark night of the soul. And the dark night of the soul is really a place where we go. It's like rock bottom. And it's like, it's such a deep question mark about your life that it's almost like you feel hopeless. And typically, once we make it out the dark night of the soul, we're going to be elevated to a new level. So that's how I would describe it. I think everyone hits their dark night of the soul at a deeper point. I would describe a dark night of the soul for me when my mother died. That was one, if not the darkest time of my life, because it happened at a very pivotal point in my human development, which is, at the time I did not know this, it was at my Saturn return. And that first Saturn return, which the transiting Saturn gets back to where Saturn is in your chart. It's typically around 27, 30, somewhere between 27 and 30 years old. There's going to be a second Saturn return around 58, I think, 58, 60, something like that. And it's hard. A lot of times once people hit that Saturn return, it's a really hard time in life because you're being required to grow up a lot. And anything that you were supposed to have done that you hadn't done, you're going to answer for that. Everything that you were supposed to do that you know, did do, you're going to reap rewards for that. You're going to reap what you have sown, be it you did what you're supposed to do or you didn't do. And so the dark night of the soul for me was my mother dying. That was like the worst thing that had ever happened to me. I don't think anything has taken me down that far. Everything around me was black for about 3 years. I really struggled, maybe even longer. I really, really struggled. I was not happy. And it was also during that time when I finally was like, I really got to figure out this spiritual thing, because when I was around 24, which 24 is also a major human developmental period, because that's typically when we have our Jupiter return, which is a time of enlightenment and expansion. And so I had just gotten married, and I really was like, there's something in me that's different spiritually. I don't know what this is. And so I started sort of venturing into it right after I got married. And my husband was like, what you doing over there? What in the world are you doing? I went and got all these books on Islam, I think it was. And he was like, I did not sign up for this. So I took all the books, took them back. And then that's when I found Iyanla. It was like I just started doing a lot of self-development and stuff like that. And that was working until my mother died. My mother died, things go black. I don't want to celebrate not any holidays. Every day I was depressed. And then finally, about year 2 or 3 after she died, I was like, I can't live like this. This is not honoring my mother, which was about the time I was coming out of my Saturn return. I had a son, and I did not want my children to grow up with a mom who hated holidays, which I still don't really care about holidays. I'm horrible, even remembering they come around. But I didn't want to be that depressed mom. And I didn't feel like I was honoring my mother's life. So I came up out of it. And once I came out of it, I stopped going to church. I found my godparents, and I got on this new path in life. And I just said, you know what? I got to do me. And so for me, that probably was my dark night of the soul, though at the time I didn't have that terminology. Yes. Okay. So my question, does anyone, you've been with your husband 30 years, Amy? Wow. Or are you saying he's asking you the whole time y'all been married, what the heck are you doing? Yeah. I feel like, I feel like my husband and I reflect really the way couples are supposed to be. Um, I'm fortunate in the sense that my husband and I are more alike, or we're enough alike that when I made this deviation, when I got off deviating from my true path and got on my true path, um, I made a deviation from what we had started as. I made a deviation from what I presented him to. Now, when I met him at I was like 19 when I met my husband. We started dating it. I think I was 21. I was what I was. I mean, I wasn't questioning anything. I was questioning some things like what were my African ancestors doing um, before slavery. You know, I was in that time of learning more about what it is to be of African descent in the United States. And it started making me question every freaking thing, including the religion. Like, My mother, when I grew up, she was like, "Oh, Jesus is not white, honey. We do not worship no white Jesus up in this house. I don't care what you see. Jesus ain't white. Jesus is black like us." So I was raised up with the concept Jesus is a black man. Um, but the more I learned getting older, it made me just 100% question Christianity. Um, so but for the most part, who he was, I was like, I did not misrepresent myself. I didn't know that I was going to change because, of course, there was no one to tell me what path I was on at that point. I just knew I always had a different way of understanding spirituality. And so once I changed, our thing is we are more like, we both come from military families. We both sort of like, well, we have a lot of scorpionic energy that's the same. When I look at our chart, I didn't know any of this until like last year. But I always knew there was something about us that's very similar. And so once I decided I'm getting on my true spiritual path, everything else has been able to sustain us, because then he got on his true spiritual path. He wasn't even on his, because he was supposed to be answering the calling. His mama told him as a little boy, "You're going to be a preacher." He was like, none of that, none of that. But he comes from a lineage of pastors. His dad is a pastor, and his dad's dad was a pastor. He has an uncle on his mom's side who is a pastor. And so finally, he answered his calling right around the same time I answered my calling. And now here I am, a priestess of the Sacred Feminine Mysteries Goddess tradition, initiated into Ifa. He's a Christian pastor, and we are coexisting together. Of course, there are things you have to navigate, but I think this is the way couples really should be. Because over the years, as I have watched other couples, you look at two Christians together. Now, I don't know about a lot of any other things, religions, because I don't hang out with people to really witness what are these same religion couples really like. But Christians, you'll see one going to one church and another one going to another church. Even Christians don't co-sign on each other's Christianities and churches. Okay. So I think, and I remember, this is gonna sound so silly, watching Sesame Street. And there was a dad on there who was sharing his Buddhist faith, this little boy with his dad. And it was said that the mama was not Buddhist. And that was like so amazing for me to hear. And these people may be in China or they were in some other country. And I thought, that's me and my husband. It's really possible for people to have two different religions and live in the same house. So the fact that our spouses are asking us, "What the world are you doing?" I can relate. And I think it's okay. We don't have to be the same religion. We just have to be respectful. And so, you know, we've been able to work it out. Oh, okay. If you're in the live, I mean the replay, look at the live chat. Amy is really, she's speaking my language. Yeah, we can be different. And starting out young together, sometimes I guess it doesn't always work out, but if it does, it's sort of to a benefit because you just accept it and go with it. Because I wasn't happy about being a preacher's wife. Did anybody want to ask any questions? I can ask the Oracle a quick question for you if you want me to ask the Oracle something. I know I've never done this before, so you may not have a question, but if you do have a question, or if you just want to ask me a spiritual question in general to get my view on it, I'm here for you. Otherwise, I'm going to get off because I really just wanted to get on and see how this camera looks. How did it work with this computer? And I thought, you know what? Let me see here. Oh, Ashna was saying that she was the same way when her dad passed. Yeah. Oh, and Ashna, I dreamt about my mom quite a bit too. Um, Even still, if I get too distraught in my spirit, I'll dream about my mother. But that's what the ancestral altar is for too. So I just go to my altar and talk to my mom. I talk to my mom all the time, really, my ancestors. So I hope that you all have plans for Mercury retrograde. Ah, yes. Thank you, Amy. You're so sweet. Um, I really hope that y'all have a good Mercury retrograde. I like it when the astrologers say, um, we should not panic when the challenging aspects are in effect, that we should try to maximize it, because at the end of the day, if everything was so rosy and peachy, it's just like when we think back, for those who know about the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. You know, everything they wanted was provided for them. They had no want of anything. It was just perfect. How in the world do we grow if things are always just perfect? Another thing is, especially when we think about retrogrades, how do we grow if the energy only moves forward and we don't take any time to like slow it down and to really give ourselves an opportunity to see, whoa, am I headed in the right direction? You know, doing some type of check to see, is this direction the right direction? I might be headed northwest when I meant to just be going due north. And the retrograde period is a time for me to be able to slow down. Oh, I need to course direct, you know? So it's important for us. One of the things I talk about in terms of keys to self mastery and self realization is the importance of awareness. That's one of the keys to self mastery. Why do we want to master ourselves? So that we stop feeling like we're not getting where we want to go, so that we maximize our lives, our gifts, our talents, so that we can actually get to that point of um, achieving our destiny. That's why we want to do the self mastery thing. And so if we're going to, because the world will try to make you seem like, make you think you're never going to get there. It's only for those special people. That's a lie from the pit of hell. Okay. And so one of the ways that we can get to self mastery is through awareness. And so the more we're aware of what the heck we're doing, the more we're aware of Mercury retrograde and what it means and what do we want to get out of it, then even when the hard times ensue, and I have a troll, I don't even know where this came from, in my message feed, I'm ready. I'm like, you know what, Doug, you're not even on my nerves today. Doug is deleted from my channel just with a little click. I didn't even know how to do that before now. And I'm on my computer. If I was on my cell phone, Doug would still be probably posting in this chat right now. But this was a new opportunity. I'm making the most of Mercury retrograde. You know, what is Mercury bringing up for us? Let's be aware and let's take it and really work with it like clay, so that when we come out of Mercury retrograde, and Mercury, which goes fast, we're able to know that we're on a better path. We're able, you know, Mercury is about skills too. We got our skills and our tools together. It might be a spiritual toolkit that we need to be putting together, spiritual skills, mental skills, emotional skills, or just real life skills where we can manifest something in the physical. But we're working on getting our skills together, you know, so that we can maximize life as Mercury shoots forward into all the upcoming signs until the next retrograde. Mars is still in retrograde. It only goes retrograde about every 2 years. This is our opportunity to slow down and see, what are we really passionate about? Am I channeling my energy in the right things? Mars is retrograde in Aquarius. So if you know where your chart is in Aquarius, if you know where Aquarius is in your chart, then you're getting an opportunity to really look at that area of life. And I bet you it's something that's really important that actually needs you to be focused on it. If you don't know where it is in your chart, think about in your life, where should I be focusing my energy where I am not doing it? That's what we need to be doing during this 2 months of Mars retrograde, which at this point, thank goodness, we're down to a month. Those of us who are Mars ruled, we're begging for Mars to get out of retrograde at this point. I'm so tired. Scorpio and Aries, we might be struggling. Good, Amy B. I'm glad it works for you and you're happy. You know what, Ashna? My mother was not deceased when I would see her in my dreams. Some of those dreams, for a long time, she was still sick. And I would see her at different places too, but always I would end up seeing her at a mall. Me and my mom would be at the mall. I'm like, what is up with me and my mom at a mall? Sometimes we might would be on vacation with my dad. It was just really weird. Yes, opportunities, Amy B. Ooh, okay. Okay, Michelle. Yes, that's good that it brought up that toxic relationship for you to deal with. Um, and so the other thing that I would encourage you to think about, and I'm just saying this based on what popped in my head based on my own experience. When I think about freaking toxic relationships, oh my God. Man, relationships sometimes, and it's not, I guess sometimes it is related to my marriage, but a lot of times it's related to my friendships. Woo, friendships can give me a lot of pain, a lot of pain. And what I have learned when I find myself in a toxic situation is it really makes me look at myself and say, what the heck about me allowed myself to get caught up in this thing? So that's something that I would encourage you to do. I remember the first one that just really brought me to my knees. Um, I ended up looking back at that friendship saying to myself, I must not think much of myself because this chick was showing me her true colors from day one, making me feel bad about myself and making me feel insecure. And actually, I started acting other than myself. And instead of questioning her, I'm questioning myself. Well, why am I thinking that? I must be being negative or something. And once the relationship dissolved, I cut it off because I was like, oh, wait a minute, I don't do this. Finally, I woke up and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm really grateful for this relationship because it showed me I don't think a lot of myself to let someone treat me poorly, and just be taking it. So those are the kinds of things that perhaps Mercury can bring to you uh, in understanding that relationship. Nice. Your eyes are open to the divine feminine energy. And the other thing that I would just add is, which is you. You are the divine feminine in form. So that's a beautiful thing. That is a really beautiful thing. Sometimes I want to talk more about the divine feminine. And I just think to myself, what do I say? It's so challenging to talk about. I guess, I don't know. One day I really do need to talk more about the divine feminine. We talk about Oshun, Yemonja, Oya, other goddesses, Ma'at. That is the divine feminine. Those are reflections of the great divine mother. The other thing that is important, especially for the feminine beings, those of us born with a womb, is understanding the divine feminine from the perspective of our wombs. And that's what my work as a sacred feminine mysteries priestess is all about. It's really and truly helping us to understand the power that resides within us as women and how it's just so layered and covered up with the lie. That's the best way I can describe it, with pure D lies. And the more we just going ahead and embrace this power, then we can literally transform the world. If we all, those of us born with wombs, if we all united and connected our wombs, if united at the womb, and we focused our energy and said, we see every child in the world getting food. Every child in the world will get food. How that will happen, I don't know. That's the power of the womb. I was listening to my guru talk this morning, Io Oshinike, and she was saying that we give birth to God. That's the power of the womb. And that's something I think that's a little mind-blowing for some people, is to really understand that embedded in a woman's womb is so much power. And this is one of the reasons that the divine feminine energy has been oppressed or suppressed and oppressed. And to a certain degree, it is so whack that we will suppress our own divine feminine energy. We will buy lock, stock, and barrel into the oppression of us as divine feminine beings. And it's so subtle, because we'll be looking like, we believe in ourselves as women. I think the greatest testament to the fact that we struggle with understanding that we really are slaves and prisoners to the lies is the way women in general, I'm not saying you, but women in general, tear each other apart, can't stand to see each other rise up. That's, to me, the trick of the powers that be that want the divine feminine oppressed and suppressed. If the powers can get us to tear and rip each other down and hate to see other women really succeeding, then it doesn't even have to do anything. So the more of us that say, you know what, y'all, we're going to love and support each other until we are all healed up. And we're going to touch and agree on these wounds to bring some changes. And as we do it, we're going to be bringing every man we love up along with us. So the men, you ain't losing. You know what I mean? Because every woman I know who truly is in touch with her power just adores the masculine energy. Because at the end of the day, we all have it within us. But those who are born in masculine form, we adore that energy. I have 2 sons. I must adore the masculine. I adore my husband. I adore how he expresses the masculine energy. So yeah, everyone's winning when we working from our womb. So I hope that you get in touch with the power of your womb, Michelle. I hope you do. All right, y'all. I have talked quite a bit. I hope that you've gotten something from it. I always love talking to you all and really connecting with you all. And so I wish you, again, a happy Mercury retrograde, great eclipse tomorrow. Everything I said about awareness applies to the eclipse. And a good rest of the retrograde. But y'all know I'm going to see y'all before the retrogrades end. So thank you all so much. I love y'all. May you receive the blessings of the goddess. Just open your hands to receive it. Blessings of abundance of all things divine, prosperous, and protective be upon you and yours. Please like the video. Please share the video. And if I can divine on your behalf, my website is goddessbodymindspirit.com. And that mind is MIND, goddessbodymindspirit.com. Love y'all.